Here we go again, man. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's always 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll be just randomly making videos. There's your proof. Anyway, this doesn't matter. The whole thing. What is wrong? Like, are y'all following this Brandon Aiyuk thing? I'm starting to get flashes of Antonio Brown, but I'm not even saying they're comparable because of two things. Number one, as good as Brandon Aiyuk has had a stretch here, Antonio Brown was like Hall of Fame level production. And we kind of watched him nuke his career in real time until it finally culminated after like the 17th chance that he got with him popping his pads, that's football slang for taking your shoulder pads off, and walking off the field at MetLife Stadium, never to be seen again. Last I saw him, he's making weird music videos on TikTok. But now Brandon Aiyuk is, the story arc just feels very similar. And I don't know whether to laugh, cry, feel bad, or say, is there something like a screw loose with him? I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this stuff, but if you haven't been following this drama, I guess I'll just fill you in on what's happened. I understand there's a lot of my audience that don't watch sports, but some of you just want to hear what the hell's going on. So bear with me for the people who do know what's going on, but let me just give you a brief little overlay. Brandon Aiyuk still is technically a receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, but it was drama that unfolded as of last year. I have the little AI thing overview on the screen, but I don't really need it, but just to give people kind of something to read as I talk about this stuff. More or less in late 2024, Brandon Aiyuk, first of all, got this big-ass contract. A lot of people thought he deserved. The 49ers were on the ascent. They had a lot of guys that started playing really well. He was one of them. They wanted to give him his bag, which they did. Big bag. He had a season-ending injury in late 2024. So, long story short, after he signed this 4-year, $120 million extension, he had a bad knee injury, and while he was supposed to rehab his injury, I guess during that time, he missed like a ton of rehab workouts. And when you're hurt as a professional athlete, it doesn't mean you can go home and play Nintendo. You still have to go in and do your work, your rehabilitation, getting back from your surgery, etc. Apparently, he stopped going to a lot of those things. So the 49ers, because he did that, were able to void. I'm sure it's somewhere near. Yeah. So they voided his guaranteed money, claiming he did not meet the requirements of his contract by missing designated rehab. That's a very legal thing that teams will do. And they were just trying to recoup the money because more or less, he just said, I don't give a crap. I'm not playing for you guys anymore. The GM, John Lynch, then came out and said, you're not playing for us anymore. Brandon Aiyuk has played his last snap. So that means that everyone in the NFL, the other teams know they don't want him. So they're going to try to trade him. All their leverage is gone at that. But the situation was so bad, he felt like he had to publicly come out and say it. A lot of his teammates during that time when they asked about it, they refused to talk about and or were just like, he's not a part of the team anymore, blah, blah, blah. After that, he started saying a lot of crazy stuff on IG. He popped up on IG, he posted this story, and I'm just showing you the stills of it, but he drove supposedly like 100 miles an hour past Levi Stadium, like talking crap on his IG stories. And at this point, most of the league, knowing that you'd have to trade for him because he's still under contract, the 49ers don't want to let him go for anything, for nothing, I should say, and give him what he wants. And most of the league doesn't want to trade for him, knowing that he's want away, and right now he has character issues. He speeds past there, saying his crazy stuff, and then they give him an arrest warrant for doing this because basically it's illegal to go 60 miles an hour, who'da thunk it, past there. And you can see it right here. Sorry, y'all, my car content won't come with speeding anymore. I was praying with my son tonight. Like, he's basically like he doesn't really care. And all these NFL players, a lot of people, TJ Houshmandzadeh, because he was his former personal coach, he's kind of been like a harsh critic, being like, bro, you're playing yourself. You lost all this guaranteed money. And like, you're literally just severely ruining your whole future, which was really bright at one point. But now all these crazy outbursts, nobody's going to want to deal with you. So then he basically has this whole thing where he's like trying to force his way to Washington, the Commanders, it comes out. I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to go to the Commanders. F all y'all. And it reminds me of when AB forced his way to the Raiders and then they ended up cutting him because of a helmet issue and then he got frostbite on his foot. It was a whole crazy thing, but they cut him and then it basically culminated with him, like I said, popping his pads in MetLife. You never saw him again. But the Commanders supposedly wanted him, but were waiting for him to get cut. He's yelling at the 49ers to cut him. But then it comes out, he started beefing with Jaden Daniels. For people who don't follow football, that's the starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders. At one point, they were teammates at Arizona State, so they knew each other. That's where he wanted to go. He ain't going there no more because now they're beefing, and here it comes right here. All right. They unfollowed each other, and this is what it said. I saw the post, but I don't even want to put it up. But it says, you're on my team now. You follow my rules. I'm a grown-ass man, boy. You're going to have to stop running to your mom. And I might believe what you're talking about, but until then, no. Jaden Daniels wrote something back. And then so on, they stop following each other. Jaden Daniels posted this video of KD going like this, basically like they were beefing with each other. If you don't really know, I'm sure most of y'all do, but beefing with the quarterback on a team where he's the franchise QB and you might have your only bridge left going that you just burned probably means that there's going to be a very hard time for him to get onto another team. None of it really matters until the 49ers actually release Aiyuk. They're going to have to find a way because this is coming to a head because right now they have him on the reserve squad, which is like they have to reinstate him. And that means he'd have to show up to training camp. And the 49ers already said they don't want him. So I don't know where this is going to go, but you can kind of see the NFL talking heads. Jeremy Fowler's like an ESPN insider. He continues to nuke his job prospects at this point. I've talked to several teams about Brandon Aiyuk, trying to give him benefit of the doubt. They can't think of anything sort of this is insensible. If I had to gamble, I would say that, do I think he'll get another chance? Probably because he's talented, but he's really severe. It's going to have to be like a vet minimum contract at this point. You went from having a 4-year, $120 million deal. More than likely, if you get back in the league, you're going to have like a league minimum contract, and then you have to gamble on yourself. If you don't know, he's 28 years old. So in NFL years, man, when you hit 30, it's very hard for you to start getting chances because more and more younger players who don't have to get paid more, that aren't invested veterans, are coming into the league. So when you have equal ability and or problems, a lot of times that will just mean they're going to take the younger guy because they come cheaper. And that's just the way that it goes. You saw with players that had injury issues, similar like Odell Beckham, who's on the Giants right now on a league minimum contract. But you know, when he was his mid-20s, he would have demanded top dollar. Now, this is a whole different ordeal than that, but it's just like a cautionary tale again, man. I don't know if something is actually like a screw loose in his head or he's just like too much pride or what, but you don't know how the left squad list or the reserve list, basically you don't count against a 53-man roster, and San Francisco is not required to pay him, so he's not getting a dime while he's doing all this stuff. Additionally, he has an arrest warrant out for him because of this speeding ticket. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go to jail for a speeding ticket. He probably going, you know how it goes. And I do think that if he was on the 49ers and didn't have an issue because he was in Santa Clara when he got pulled over, they probably wouldn't even have gave him the damn ticket. But they're mad at him too. You know how fans are. Now, why am I talking about this? It reminds me of like a lot of things that I saw as a former athlete in college with a lot of certain players that their mouth got them in trouble so many times. Like, I was talking about this in the other video that I had where people just don't want to take any accountability, and it ends up getting them to the point where people start getting this like, I don't care, I'm finna say what I gotta say. Like, I don't know if anybody out there has that in them, but it's a cautionary tale that like, no matter what you do, sometimes you have to just swallow your pride. One of the videos recently, which had to do with your rage, there was someone in the comment section. We were talking like two normal people. I'm not saying this in a negative way towards whoever said that comment, but they were talking about how like greed is the worst of the 7 deadly sins, but pride is also another one. Pride makes people stupid. Do you know how many times in my life I watched somebody nuke their own playing time, nuke their own class schedules, nuke their own job career because I don't care, I'm not finna let nobody blah, blah. And it's just stupid to do things like that. Life is chess. It's not checkers. Like, sometimes you have to understand that you have to play the game. You have to be able to know when to shut up sometimes. And it's hard for a lot of people to do that. You have to think about all the possible outcomes before you do things. And some people can do that impulsively and quickly. And some people, they have to stop and take a second and think. I think a lot of men, especially, I can't speak on behalf of women. I mean, hell, that's bull. There's a lot of women that when they get mad, they don't care about what happens. I don't know how many times I've been in arguments with women and they've been like, I don't care. When you like, you know how irrational you're being right now? And they're like, I don't care. So ladies, y'all need to listen to this too. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to start thinking before you start making these decisions. Like, be able to check yourself. Because if you don't, by the time you realize it, it's going to be too late to go back. And there's so many people I have watched, so many talented people I've watched, so many like people that have so much potential to do great things that their own stupidity, their own impulsiveness, their own just pride got in the way of what was the bigger picture. Because I'm not finna let nobody do me like this. I'm not. And sometimes you can think that, but just shut up. And I'm not saying that you can't have an opinion, but there's too many people out here that just think like, well, everybody's allowed to be able to say. That's why you end up in trouble. People still don't understand this. And this is bigger than this Brandon Aiyuk thing, but freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences. You are allowed to say what you want to within certain things, but that don't mean that other people have to receive it well. That don't mean your employers have to receive it well. I feel like this at this point, I'm just speculating, but he's so far gone that like he fired his agent, his mentor, TJ Houshmandzadeh. don't want to talk to him no more. He's criticizing. So all these people that were there to like check him, they can't say nothing to him anymore. And when you get to that point, you're cooked. It's hard to have a circle of sycophants. And if you think that having people around that agree with you is going to make you do the right way, sometimes it's better to have people around that's going to be like, yo, you need to chill out, as you could listen to. But once you lose that ability, once you get like FU money or FU status or anything like that, you can really screw that up. And it's even worse because I've watched people that don't even have money or status do it. When I saw this, I'm just like, just like, look, I'm sorry, bro. Just like, he don't even care. Like, I just feel like if this really passes him by, I think one day he's going to look back and be like, man, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So I always use things that I see like internet stuff because I feel like it's more relatable for people, and maybe people will listen if they see something like this. I might be trying to preach at people, but again, I'm just at that age where I watched a lot of people that thought they was invincible when they were younger, and now that we're getting older, they wish that they didn't act that way. But there was people trying to talk to them back then, and they didn't listen either, and it's so cyclical. I always end these videos off with the same thing, bro. I know people get tired of the old heads, the unks, the people that's, y'all call people that's 25 unk, but the people that's 30, 40, 50, however old, constantly trying to tell y'all these things, trying to preach at y'all, it's because they've watched this happen so many times. I'm just at the age now where I've seen it so many times. There's so many things I see with the younger generation that I'm like, y'all really don't see how stupid y'all are acting. Just like we didn't. I had a lot of friends that they just didn't get it till it was too late. The pride, bro, sometimes, man. I got stories for days, man. I don't know. I don't even know where this video's going. Let me stop before I start. No outro on this channel.